Oh, there, we heard
I
you.
heard
I
you.
heard
Yeah,
something.
we
We
can
heard
hear.
you.
Yeah, all of a sudden it came back.
All right.
So sorry,
Yay.
guys. No idea.
Yeah.
We're
You
Hey,
know
so
what's
glad you're
enjoyable
back.
about all this is I don't have to edit it. So
Man, sorry, guys.
I'm going to guess there probably won't be that much editing, but
Who cares? Technical difficulties.
yeah, it's all
it's
good.
authentic.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BTB Movie Club podcast. My name is Aaron Lashbrook. We hope you enjoy today's movie discussion. Thank you for listening.
Welcome everybody to the BTB Movie Club. This week we are on movie number 233. Aaron Lashbrook's pick, Blue Steel, starring Jamie Lee Curtis from whatever the hell year it was.
1990.
Thank you, Aaron. This week we have Dan Sears, Ryan Malo, Aaron Lashbrook, Mike Wilden, and myself, Brian Larson, cousin to Tim Larson of the T of the BTB Movie Club. Welcome, Aaron. It's your pick. Why don't you take charge?
All right. Thanks, Brian. So I needed to pick from either a Jamie Lee Curtis movie or a Clint Eastwood movie. I don't know, female representation. I don't know. I decided early, even before we knew who our picks were going to be, that I was going to try to use the female star for no real reason. Going through Jamie Lee Curtis's IMDb catalog, whatever you would call it, her career. She's got some few good ones. Most are heavily seen. The several different Halloweens are highly rated. There's a couple others that either I had seen. There was the one that was real recent. I don't have it in front of me anymore, but I explained it last week why I didn't pick it. It came down to these two. It was more of a I don't want to say rom-com, but coming of age. It was about, this person picked on me in high school, and now, I'm going to show them kind of stuff, and hilarity ensues. I decided to go the other route, not a comedy. Not exactly sure what this would be, action, drama, suspense. But I went that route instead. Much earlier in Jamie Lee Curtis's career. Like Brian pried out of me a few seconds ago, it is from 1990. I have. I was going to try to be a little more professional. I'm still going to drink, but so that's, not anything that's going to change. Lack of professionality there. Malo, is professionality a word?
Nope.
Damn it. All right. But anyway, I've actually I have not just notes. I have so many notes. I watched this last week after, that's all notes. Watched it twice. So I'm very prepared. And I don't know how it's gonna go when it's my turn, but it'll be my turn last. So I don't plan on interjecting too much because I have a prepared statement. So I'm gonna let you guys say what you want to say, and then I'll do what I gotta do. I probably won't jump in too much is what I'm saying because, I don't want to give away, not that anything's secret or hilarious. But I'll listen intently and I'll ask some questions. Dan, you're in a hurry. You had mentioned that earlier. So I'm going to go to you first just for that simple fact of courtesy to you.
Okay. Man, I wish you would have picked a Clint Eastwood movie. At the beginning there, you said that you weren't going to pick a comedy. I mean, to me, this was a comedy. I could not take this movie seriously. I mean, right from the get-go, she's gonna go in there and shoot this guy. She's gonna empty her whole clip into this guy. It's like, I guess you want to make sure he's dead so he doesn't come after you later. So we're gonna shoot to kill. The witnesses and convenience store. None of them saw the gun. The gun was in that cashier's face for like 5 minutes, and he said, "I'm going to blow you away. I'm going to kill you." And he didn't see a gun. He wasn't sure what he saw, a knife or whatever. And now the other people, that what was there, four or five other people, none of them saw a gun either. It's like, okay. Um, let's see. I thought that the parent thing was a little odd. I'm not sure why they threw the dad in there who was beating his wife. I'm not sure where that part of the
I get it.
story was coming from. As yeah, I'm gonna leave that there and keep going. Um and the parent, they just let this guy into her house or apartment. He says, "Yeah, yeah, I know your daughters. Oh, come on in." Just gonna let him in. Don't know him. It's like, okay. What else we got here? I'm just kind of rambling. 8 million people in the city, and he constantly finds her. It's like, oh, there she is again. Oh, all of a sudden there he is, right in her apartment. I mean, I don't know how he keeps finding her so easily. Um, let's see. And then, I mean, the dudes get shot in the arm or the chest, wherever it was, and he just pulls the bullet out, and I'm fine, okay, and let me keep going here. He just pulls it out like it's nothing. And I mean, he's a master thief. I mean, he's breaking into her apartment. I guess he picks locks on the side, besides his job on Wall Street. Um, let's see. I wear headphones when I watch TV, and the sound effects in this were really strange. I mean, when they're kissing, there's a lot of slurping noises, and it was it was kind of gross. I mean, when she was in the hospital, she wasn't under arrest, right? She was just supposed to stay in the hospital because she was traumatized and they were going to have her sleep there. So why did she have to beat up the cop to leave? She could have just walked out the door and left. I think the cop was there protecting her from the other guy, not, you know, keeping her in the hospital. But I don't know. She saw the need to beat him up and take off.
Think maybe, I
Um,
don't know if she needed the uniform, but I think she definitely needed his gun. So incapacitating him might have.
oh, okay, did she take his gun? Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. Okay. All right. Yeah, and the guy, I mean, it was kind of like a Halloween movie, and the guy wouldn't die. He got shot. He got shot the second time, and he was still fine. He got run over by the car, and he was still felt okay. Then finally, it was the fifth bullet that finally put him down. Um, I mean, we assumed that they didn't show him after that. I was half expecting him to pop up and say, "I'm good again," grab somebody's gun, start shooting. Um, I thought it was a strange film choice. They would a lot of times during shooting scenes they would show it slow motion. I thought that was a little odd. Um, and that last thing I mean a few other things, but the last thing I'll say right now is the old hide behind the hot dog cart trick. As he's going down the road, she can't see me. I'm hiding behind this hot dog cart. But but yeah, I'll say other things later. But sorry, didn't get into this. I just thought it was comical from beginning to end, unrealistic, and you really have to have a suspension of disbelief to watch it.
Okay. Your suspension of disbelief. So this was 1990. Did you enjoy Terminator when it came out?
Yes, I did,
Okay.
but that was clearly sci-fi
Time
though.
traveling robots, you know.
This wasn't. This was supposed to be real, and I think the word for it is psychoanalytical thriller. That would be
Oh,
my
I do like that.
genre.
Now, this isn't very highly rated at all. Actually, the critics, it's pretty good. It's about a 76 or something, but like moviegoers, it's a 36. So, um, would you evaluate it? Would your evaluation be that high? A 36 out of 100.
36.
Ooh, so that's even
Yeah,
tough.
probably not. Probably not over 30. I
Okay,
I have
okay.
in the
I
20s
respect
somewhere.
that. Um, last question, Dan. Have you ever spent any time in New York?
Yeah, I've been there twice.
Twice. For, a week at a time or, long periods? You never lived there, have
Um, no, no, I never lived there. The longest I was there for 3 days. Well,
you? Oh,
actually, three times I've been there. Sorry. I forgot about the trip that we took with Brian and Tim. I went to the Yankees and Mets game.
cool. Maybe, well, I doubt it, because I did watch a few other, people review the movie and people just talk about it and get, some of their points of view. And it did seem a lot of people who were mine and Brian's age who had seen this in, 91, 92, 93, 90 when it came out. Um, Remembered it, didn't hate it, um, but then rewatched it and actually thought it was better than they remembered it. They're like, it wasn't terrible, especially a lot of them did the same thing. They looked at the Rotten Tomato scores, I think, which set up low expectations, and they watched it and had a decent conversation about it. And some of them, in those critiques, they did have a Dan in the group, so that's fine, as we do. So, thank you for your honest opinion of my choice of movies.
All right,
Uh,
you're welcome.
Brian, what do you think?
First, I would like to point out, yes, Aaron and I are currently the same age. I just want everyone to know that. Um, yeah, I I've seen this movie before. I watched it again, and I hope to God I never see it again. So there was actually some interesting things. Tom Sizemore being the perp in the beginning. I was like, when I first saw that, it was like, oh, I actually thought it was Michael Madsen at first, and it was like, oh no, it's the other one, Tom Sizemore. Isn't he the one who was hooked up with the madam, Hollywood madam? Just, oh crap, what was
In
her
real
name?
life,
Yeah,
like,
I'm talking
and
about
her
in real
book
life.
came out. Yeah, yeah, yep. When
Um,
when that all came out and everybody was worried whose names were going to be in it, and
right, that was
Charlie Sheen was like, "Mine's in it."
yeah. But that was Sizemore's girlfriend, right?
Yeah, something like
Okay.
that. Or, I don't know if she called him that, but
Yeah. If you spend enough, you can call him whatever you want. Um, but yeah, and
Heidi Fleiss.
Heidi Fleiss, yeah, that was it. Thank you. Thank you. Clancy Brown, love the guy. He's just good actor. Shawshank, Highlander is probably his best role as Kurgan. Um, and the voice acting that he's done too, Lex Luthor in the cartoon and stuff on Star Wars and whatever he does. I like him. It's James.
He's in, he's in Invincible a lot, also voice actor right now.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah. He's the what was he? Not Omni
He's
Man.
multiple. He's like
Yeah, you're right.
Monster Girl, I think. The two, was he the twins? No, that was somebody else. Anyway, he does a lot of different roles.
Yeah, yeah. Um, no, it was. I don't want to say it was a bad movie because that's negative to bad movies. It, it was just not, and surprisingly, I was like, I saw it was Kathleen Bigelow, and I made a comment last week about, what has she ever done? Like I hadn't heard of her, and Hilty immediately went on the attack. So I looked it up, and it was, she did The Hurt Locker, which is a really good movie. Um, this I, I don't know if I want to say it was trying to do female empowerment before female empowerment was a thing, but she cracked a joke every time somebody asked her why she wanted to be a cop, and it was something different, mentioning she wants to shoot somebody, and then 5 minutes later she's out shooting somebody. Edward, Edward, right? Or Eugene, sorry, Eugene. What a strange name, Eugene. But um, we don't get a lot of backstory on him. He's nuts, which I probably was planned on their part. But it didn't, besides the killing part and unnecessarily killing people, you don't have really a reason to hate the guy. You know, I mean, usually the bad guy, there's something you see just totally like this was a guy who got into a bad situation and it twisted him, and he obviously had, I'm going to guess, like schizophrenia, heard voices, uh, a mental disorder, and that makes him the bad guy in this. So maybe that little feature doesn't hold up so well nowadays with how we look at mental health and kind of thing. Um, After he killed the hooker, so it's not like, I guess HIV wasn't the big thing that we thought it was back in the day, because he's just wiping himself with that stuff.
Yeah, both times I saw it, both times I watched the movie when he did that, I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
It's like the worst. Hooker blood.
So, so we go from these guns shooting, sounding like cannons going off, to all of a sudden you wrap a towel around it in the bathroom and you don't hear a thing. It's just like, and then again, pulled the trigger again, and boom! It's one of those little.
There was a calamity outside of fire engines and whatnot at the same time. She was also
Oppenheimer needed to test a goddamn nuke. Come on. Uh, there was somehow I was invested in Megan during the movie. I wanted things to go well for her. That didn't seem to be going well. I did think some of the choices of shots and cinematography was pretty good. At one point there was like the smoke moon walking through it scene that's always kind of was a staple in late 80s, early 90s movies. But um I could see a direction this movie could have gone that could have made it much better, and uh they didn't go anywhere near that direction when making it. So but you picked it, I watched it.
and that's
Thank
the
you.
rules. That's all I can ask is that you follow the rules. Um Crap. I know you've been to New York.
I have.
Um have you all right, so I know um you have a military career. Have you ever shot a handgun? I don't know, is that part of any of the training? I know you rifle train and stuff, but
No, basic training. It was M16, threw a grenade, and I was the specialist for training for the AT-4, which is the anti-tank rocket launcher. So I got to shoot one of those. But I did not shoot a handgun in the military, but I have shot handgun before.
can I ask where for that story?
My dad gave me a handgun. It was a Luger.
Oh, cool. Very cool. I never knew that. So, um,
It's kind of wild if he was just like, "Oh yeah, I killed a guy once." Like, wait, what?
and his name was Eugene,
Yeah.
which happens to be my grandfather's name. So, not that weird. And currently my nephew's middle name.
Gino.
So, went with Gene. He went by Gene. He was Eugene, but went by Gene. Um, I don't know. Did you just bring it up, or Dan? Who brought up the woman empowerment statement? Did you?
I said that.
Um, you didn't like. You were like, oh, I guess it could have been. Like, you didn't see that like heavy-handedly at all, or I mean, I thought that was like one of the major themes of the movie.
Well, I mean, yes, I'm saying that it was, but in the 90s, were they really
Oh, before they
pushing
called
woman
it that.
empowerment?
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it. Okay. Um, I would say like Cameron with what's her face in Terminator. That was supposed to be she was supposed to be a strong, independent Sarah Connor. What's her real name?
Linda Hamilton
Linda.
Linda Hamilton.
or his
Um,
wife.
not anymore, right? Isn't that one of the most expensive divorces ever? Or some shit like that. Anyway, but that was supposed to be kind of a single badass woman empowerment kind of thing, and that was what 84,
But not in
86.
one. One, it was. I wouldn't have said one that
Yeah, I
way.
guess you're right. You're right.
Needed to
I'm
save
thinking
it.
two. Go ahead, Ryan.
She needed a savior. That was the whole
Right. I was totally picturing her in 2.
Yeah,
like
it would
ripped.
be completely the opposite.
Yeah, no,
Because
you're
she
totally
needed
right.
the man to show up.
Okay, so was it that much longer? When did Terminator 2 come out? 91?
I think it was 91 or 92.
Like,
I go with
I
Brian.
don't think you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just busting your
Okay.
chops.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I deserve that because I was totally picturing her in 2.
I agree with Aaron that I think it is pretty heavy-handed in this, but the style or the manner in which like what that meant in 90 or how they went about it is so different from how they would do that now.
Right. Or even if they would do it, just it'd be weird. I'd like to see somebody do it and not get skewered for doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Keep going. Brian, you done? You good?
I'm good. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
We're not done. Keep going, Ryan.
All right. So I'm glad I didn't go first because watched this Friday later in the evening and the second half of the notes. So something I've learned in 200 some times of doing this. Usually, I've had that happen before where my own notes, I'm like, wait, exactly what was going on there? Usually then I'll like put some context to what I was thinking there. And I didn't really do that this time, but some of the things made a lot more sense. Like I put not a silencer, Hollywood. And now I remember that it was because of the towel, which is silly. So something I didn't realize about movie popularity until I got to this one. I almost had to enter the entire thing into the search box for it to come up. Whereas, like you type in G and Gladiators right there or something, this one I had to enter the whole thing.
I noticed that too when I was searching for it. I was like, I had to type the whole word blue and it's still not coming up. What the hell, man?
I did talk or like make a note about Bigelow, Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, Point Break. So she's done action stuff, and and I don't think it's a poorly shot movie or anything like that, but the next just such a 90s feel or even 80s. The opening shot though was kind of weird. So we get her quick failure, I guess, and then credits. Like there was no context. It was just an interesting choice, I thought. Billy Hopkins, he huge casting director for many, many years, especially all through the 90s, Miramax and all that. And he was like the and on this one. So he was like just getting his feet under him. Elizabeth Pena, I put career best supporting actress. Like she was all over the place and in this type of role. It's this and Silver. I don't know why, like when they came up, like I just kind of was curious, like, oh yeah, where are they? How come she died in 2014, cirrhosis of the liver. Yeah. So that was, I don't know, sad to hear again or discover. Oh yeah. Okay, well, okay. Love Jamie Lee Curtis, just not buying this. My favorite comment that I made for me was I put Ron Silver equals cocaine personified. And then I noticed Sizemore as well. I thought of this. I didn't know if Brian was going to say this. It made me think of Sam Jackson in Coming to America.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing where a guy that got huge was in just a little bit part. Kevin Dunn, Clancy Brown, love both of them in everything. Psychopath Meet Cute. What do I have? Silver died in 2009 at 62 from throat cancer. There was one part where they were doing like a search and they're like, yeah, we came up with one other Megan Turner. And I'm like, in New York?
Right.
Got me here. And then this is where it started to go sideways. But Richard Jenkins, I was just surprised to see him. He's always kind of a jerk Um, and then the one thing, so the two other comments here, that because I did think the movie took kind of a twist at the end, especially like she's distraught and then she sleeps with Clancy Brown. Like that whole thing was just strange to me, but I guess they met their late '80s quota for sex scene. But the way the thing I wrote down was Pacific Heights, but cops, and it just reminded me of that movie where like he was working the system even though you knew he was dirty and all of that. Um, and then the last thing I wrote and circled that was more in jest. I just wrote "Screw you, Aaron."
Jesus.
So
My
for fun right now, I typed in Megan Turner's lives in New York City, and there's 400 LinkedIn profiles of Megan Turner's.
1990, there was probably only 4 million people in New York.
Yeah,
So just cut
So
that in
200.
half.
200, yeah.
And
Yeah,
maybe
it
they
was,
were just looking in that borough. Maybe that's what they meant.
it was so working in a video store, I'd seen the cover a million times and just never watched it. I don't know if glad is the right term, but it was interesting to watch. It was fun to have the nostalgic view of just a lot of movies of that time. I mean, there's so many that were like this. Actually, Ron Silver made me think like Time Cop has some,
that's what I always think of. But like, I kept seeing the scene where he hits himself and he gets a scar on the face that shows up in the future. The Time Cop.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, just that vibe was fun to go through again. Um, yeah, and then while we're talking, it kind of made me think of I think what Aaron sent in the text about how like instead of remaking all these really good movies, take something that maybe had a pretty good concept but didn't doesn't hold up or whatever and redo that. And I think this could maybe be a good candidate for that.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm good.
So out of 5 Winnie the Pooh honeypots, how many honeypots does it get?
I think I need clarification on the scale.
5 honeypots would be amazing. 0 honeypots would be poo, blood, and
We
honey.
need the poo, blood, and honey.
Okay, so that's
Honeypots, Jamie Lee Curtis. Come on, honeypots.
I was gonna say 1.5
are good. I'm assuming honeypots are good.
Yeah. We'll go 1.5.
Okay.
Honeypots.
My prepared statement is not going to go as well as I planned last night at 3 a.m. Unless both mics really liked it. So, Wendland, let's hear it. You're going to be number 1.
Who?
You.
Oh, okay.
he said Wilden.
I said Wendland.
Sorry. I did not honestly hear him. Yeah, I didn't think this was a very good movie. Sorry.
That's all right.
Aaron, you usually give it like a letter grade. I'd give it like a C minus. I didn't hate it, but I didn't think it was very good. Dan was talking about laughing at this movie the whole time. I did get a good chuckle out of a lot of the 90s tropes, like the way that this movie was very much a movie of its time. And I think there's kind of a charm to that in certain ways. Like when she unloads the clip into the robber and then he goes flying through the glass window for no reason. Like, all right, that's not that realistic, but that's fun. There's no harm in that. Whatever. Um, and even like Tom Sizemore like dressed up in like the leather jacket and the black beanie. It's like like they're sitting around as they're writing is like, what does a criminal look like? Well, he probably looks, that was just the very 90s look of like, this is a bad guy.
His character name in the credits is not Robber, it's Wool Cap.
Yep, there you go. my issue with this was just believability and kind of going back on what Dan said as far as suspension of disbelief. I don't necessarily think a movie has to be realistic in order for that to be the case. I mean, look how popular like the Avengers are or Star Wars or anything like that. I think it's more so, if you're trying to empathize with a character and think like, what would I do in this situation, even if it's just this wild scenario, like what would I do or what do you think a person would do? And if the actions of a person don't seem like that logical or just don't make sense, that's when I think suspension of disbelief comes in. And that's kind of where I was with a lot of this. When she just randomly starts sleeping with Detective Man. I'm like, wait, what? When was this a thing? What? How? I didn't see a lot of indications that that was at all a thing that was going to happen. And then meanwhile, well, there were a lot of parts where I kind of felt like, okay, this doesn't really make any sense, but then the question was answered, but not necessarily in a satisfactory way, but at least it was answered. Like towards the beginning when Hunt, he picks up the gun from the scene and he's at work and he's in the mirror and he's like, and he acts all, ooh, look, I have a gun, so now I'm an evil person now. And I was like, I don't think that's how that works. And then, of course, they answer that with, "Oh no, he's crazy." Oh, okay. Well, then going back, that makes a little more sense. Um, Unfortunately, when he's in the bathroom and they're having sex, I'm like, "Why don't you just come out and kill him now? If you're like, you're clearly gonna kill him. Why are you letting him finish?" And oh, it's because
It's
of that
called
whole
courtesy, Wilden. Come on.
the
Oh, man.
whole just again logic, but then that's because like all right, well there's the whole rape scene there, so clearly he was thinking about that, so you're not gonna that unfortunately makes sense, just little things like that. And then the only other thing I'll add to the complaint section was just the I don't know, just kind of like I'm not a lawyer, I don't know a lot of how this works, but I found it odd that the defense attorney comes in and the cops all have him around there and they're like, "Oh, why did you arrest this guy?" "Well, he confessed to murder." It's like, "Oh, is that all you got?" Like, I don't think they'd just be like, "Well, I guess we have to let him go." That's I feel like they would have put up a little more of a fight with that at least. Um, but I kind of like I like what Mela was saying, and I to kind of reflect on Aaron, your comment about like they should remake movies that didn't do as well. I think this would be a fantastic candidate because I think this is a really good concept, and I think the idea of kind of just a lunatic trying to just play games with this officer and don't quite know his motivation. Maybe get more into his motivation. I don't know, but like the one thing I will say that I enjoyed was that I did again, I really did like the concept. And yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis did well. Mark Silver, for all they gave him with this character, did well enough. I mean, he had to look like a crazy person and he
Yeah.
sure looked the part.
His
You
brother
know.
Ron's a fantastic actor too.
What did I say?
Mark.
Mark, my bad. Um
For me to correct somebody on a
well,
name, though, that's
yeah,
way
no,
out of
that's fair.
bounds.
this is a movie group. Yeah.
Immediately,
But
immediately
yeah,
made
no,
me think
Ron.
of Beastmaster. That was his name.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Mark.
well, anyway.
Oh, not Summer. Mark
Or is it Singer?
Singer. Yeah, I
Okay.
love that
Sorry,
movie.
Mike.
By the
Sorry.
way,
Yeah. Yeah.
can we talk about
Well,
that?
Alicia Silverstone did a great job as the crazy guy in this
Yeah.
movie. So, um, but uh, but yeah, no, I can't remember if I said this earlier, Aaron. You usually give it a letter grade. If I were to give it one, I'd give it C minus. It wasn't terrible, if we're going honeypots, 2.5, whatever.
I do respect
It,
the consistency because you did say that earlier, and you did say C minus both times. So
I was so hoping you said a
I
different
yeah,
grade.
I
I was just
apologize
like,
that I sorry that I said that twice,
no, not at
but
all.
yeah,
You were,
no, it's
yeah.
I
fine.
love the consistency.
And I was just in New York a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you're jet set lifestyle, so that's not what I was going to ask you. Staying in the country is, probably boring for you at this point, huh?
I mean, there's still a lot of cool places in the country I haven't been to yet.
All right, so you were talking about the sex scene between her and Detective Man. Um, so if in a lot of movies you see where a big, strong, maybe officer, soldier, whatever, saves the female lead or second, and that turns into sex. The way that you phrased it, that you know he had sex with her, maybe it was her having sex with him because she had just saved his life. Maybe roles were reversed there, and he felt that
Did
he
I
needed to give it up, to the woman that just saved his. I'm just spitballing here.
did I say it that way?
I believe so.
I
We can go back to the tape.
the, oh well, the whole idea was they had sex, and that was the
Okay.
part where I was like, I didn't see that coming from anywhere. Like,
But I'm just saying,
but
if so,
I see what you're saying though.
yeah, if the officer would have saved the girl, that turns into the girl, oh my God, you saved me, and then
Yeah.
squeezing his ass, and then they have sex in the back of a Honda
I,
Civic or
I
whatever.
like I, I like that idea. I will, yeah, I did like that whole the action scene part of that right beforehand when she's like the whole like cuffing him there and it's somebody else and then like he's up there. Just the whole scene with, her shooting at him and then him kicking the door. Like, okay, this is like that was pretty cool. I did enjoy that a lot.
And I mean, I've never tried it. How strong do you got to be to kick a door open on a car?
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen that before because the door was completely shut. I don't think they opened that easily. And he, kicked it open and knocked him halfway across the street. So,
I mean, even if he did like kind of sneak open the door and then kick it, it's still a really cool move.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
was just
I
yeah,
loved it.
either way.
So that doesn't get a suspension of disbelief, kicking a car door open, but some of the other things in the movie did.
Oh, again, some of the I mean, like I said, the guy flying backwards through the glass, I was like, whatever, it's a product of its time.
Well, and I
It's
mean, Hilty, you came in late, and we've already discussed that so far, for the four critics, time traveling murder robot is more believable than female police officer. I mean, that's what
that
the
is
way I'm.
not all. Um, but yeah, no, I think I mean I made my point on believability and
Yeah, I
the
know
the
I did
character
it.
thing earlier.
I kid. All right, Hilty, give me better than a C minus.
Before I start, can
Shit.
everyone repeat everything that they just said since I showed up 35 to 40 minutes late?
I
Nope.
started out with I wish he picked Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah, and
Ouch.
it went
Okay.
down from there.
It went downhill from there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming general consensus right now is that everybody did not like this movie.
Didn't
Yeah,
mind it.
by
Yeah.
far. C minus, I thought was very generous from Mike. From what he said, if I had to score it on what he said, maybe an F plus,
Oh,
um,
got it. So,
but I like the C minus. I'm not giving that up.
okay. So a couple of things that I kind of found interesting about this movie because Aaron, I've actually never seen this movie. So
What?
this is
Oh,
Holy shit!
Jesus.
this is one that I'm like,
Gold
okay.
star.
That gets an extra honey pot.
It's all
I mean,
worth
if you
it.
take nothing else from this one, Aaron, you've got that.
That's all I needed.
so
When I die, I'm getting buried in this suit.
Shorts
And this,
included.
Shorts included.
shorts and a beer in tow. Okay, cool. So I did find this interesting because I don't I don't think you see many movies like this where a female cop is terrorized in this way because you see females being terrorized in movies all the time. So I kind of like how this subverts a little bit of expectations where you have this cop who happens to be female, who is getting terrorized for bullshit reasons. I guess like I can't think of very many good reasons why Eugene Hunt, which what a horrible name for a stalker. Um no, it's actually pretty perfect
The
for
Eugene part or the Hunt part? Which part are you crapping on?
I mean Hunt no, I'm not saying it's bad because it's bad. I'm saying bad because it's so on the nose. Like
Oh yeah,
stalker, Hunt. I see what you did there.
Detective Man.
Yeah,
right.
Detective
I didn't think of
Man.
that either. So you guys, anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
Um, so I kind of took a look at this from two different perspectives. One is that how much different would this movie be if this was a male cop, which that happens all the time, where, you know, or not all the time, but it's something where a cop is terrorizing a male cop. Um, but then you have other instances where this institution of the NYPD or whatever the police department that she works for, they don't really they don't really support her, they don't really believe her, they don't really do much of anything with that. And it's saying a lot about the way that society and the way that institutions treat women in a lot of ways. Um, and also the other thing in addition to the main character, I'm kind of wondering how much more different this would have been if it would have been directed by a man instead of being directed by Catherine Bigelow as well. Because this is only her second movie, so look, I'm not going to say that it's an A plus movie or anything like that. Sorry, Aaron, definitely not an A plus movie, but I think for what Catherine Bigelow is trying to do here, which is to kind of tried to do something different specifically with the male gaze and what just women have to deal with in urban America during this time. I give her a little bit of credit for that as well. So um I thought it was well directed. The action scenes are of the time, as Wilden says. I do definitely agree with that. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis was pretty serviceable. Am I ever gonna watch this again? Uh, I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. Um, Oliver Stone helped produce this, so I found that kind of interesting from a violence and twist and turn standpoint. Did anyone mention that the script originally called for Jamie Lee Curtis to do the final shootout naked, and she refused to do it? So
Hmm.
that's why they had like a borrowed cop uniform in there because she was just like, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. And Catherine Bigelow was like, okay, that's fine. So
Oh, what
there's
could have been?
yeah.
I
No
mean,
one mentioned that.
it would have been amazing.
Um, and then I do want to read this clip from the film review from Roger Ebert, who compared this to to a sophisticated update to Halloween, which also starred Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm like, uh, okay, Robert, that's it's a bit of a stretch to call this a sophisticated update to it, but it's a it's somebody that's terrorizing Jamie Lee Curtis for misogynistic reasons in a way. So I will give it credit for that. If you're asking me to give it a letter grade, I'll give it a B minus.
I'll take
So
it.
to up the scale, I guess, because I'm seeing F minuses, C minus, um, Brian, what'd you give it?
I'm never watching it again.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
never
gave me
watching it.
I didn't
it's a
get letter
detriment
grades.
to.
I wasn't asked a letter grade.
Yeah, but
Okay.
he made it personal, like just where like he was physically mad at me
Okay.
for picking it.
I did not threaten bodily harm. Not allowed to do that anymore.
D minus.
Um,
It's passing. I'll take it,
I
man.
would, I, D minus is not Pat. What are you?
It's 100% passing. You
Oh,
should know this, Brian.
I, I got a good grade once.
The
I
second
would
time.
say I would go a strong D.
Yeah.
D. I would go strong
Which,
D.
D still means below average, but it still
yeah,
means
still
passing.
passing.
So,
Yeah.
but I'll give it a B minus, and if we're going off the honeypot scale, I'll give it probably 3 honeypots.
I like it.
I'll,
Let's make you feel better about it.
yeah.
Um, shit. Well, actually, Melo, did I ask you any questions? Because there was a question that when I was thinking about this today and coming up. Okay, there was a question. You being a person, you've had different careers. Um, you were a teacher. You're in finance now. You did the acting thing. What? Just because I said you're a person that has,
Right.
not just I
The
paused
pause,
that
the
you're a
pause
person.
was fun. The pause
All
was
right.
fun.
Have you ever done any security, bouncing,
Oh,
actually like working for a security company, law
yes.
enforcement at all, dabbled in it?
My first major was criminal justice. I was going to go in the FBI, and then that's when I made the shift to acting, actually. But in college, I was a bouncer for a little bit. Big tough 5'9", 165 pound bouncer. But I did do it, and then actually. I worked security in LA when I was out there. I worked overnight at a school, um, which I had no weapon other than a large flashlight and this like school right by a mountain, which I wasn't really worried about people, but there were mountain lions and shit
Large
around.
cats.
Yeah, that was interesting. And then security adjacent, I suppose. I was a dean and assistant principal, and I worked very closely with law enforcement in searches and canine units and all of that. So
Yeah, cool. Hilty, this being I don't know if it's ever happened before, a movie that you've never seen.
This is the second time that it's happened.
We'll just say it's the first.
Okay.
What other movies from the era, say, I don't want to go a 10-year window. I don't want to go 5 years forward and back, say 2 years forward and back. So 88 to 92. What did this movie give you the feeling of? Like, what would you put in the category that's slightly better? Similar, but slightly better.
I mean,
I know you're putting you on the spot, but if
no,
anybody, I thought you could do it.
it's okay. So I'm just thinking back to just like a combination of like other cop movies of the time, and I think the one that kind of stands out to me, maybe not the exact time frame. Has anyone ever seen or heard of the movie Copycat? Sigourney Weaver,
Yep.
where there's a guy that's kind of terrorizing Sigourney Weaver, who's
The
a detective.
pianist.
Yeah, what's his name?
Liev Schreiber.
Harry
Harry
Connick
Connick
Jr.
Jr. Yeah,
Oh shit!
Harry
Yeah,
Connick Jr. Um, so it kind of gave me that vibes a little bit. It also gives me a little bit of like reverse Fatal Attraction vibes because again, with Fatal Attract, like a lot of movies at the time and a lot of movies, even today, the women are crazy. It's the woman that's usually the one that's
Bitches
stalking.
be crazy.
Uh,
That's not my line. That's a quote.
that's just a direct quote from something.
50 Cent.
But this, I don't know. This just gave me very much Fatal Attraction esque vibes, where there's somebody who's obsessed with somebody else, but it's different in this way because it's a man obsessed with a woman.
Right.
So
That enlightening, I guess I could use to be fancy. It was Roger Ebert that you quoted, right?
yeah.
The kind of the I never saw it, but kind of the Halloween remake, the unkillable, person stalking her, through whatever that she can't get away with. It's kind of a good call. I didn't see it, but it's totally there. So that was cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all. So I had mentioned earlier that I do have a prepared statement about this movie. I did watch it twice. I took several notes. I have it written out. I'm going to read it to the best of my ability. I did write it last night between 11:30 and 3 in the morning. It did take me a while through editing and rewriting. So, all right, whatever. I don't know how this is going to go. But use this. I don't know if it's more of a um, like a term. It wouldn't be a term paper. I don't know. Just follow along or listen along, I guess.
Is this a dissertation,
There you go.
perhaps,
I
or
use something fancy like that. Dissertation.
nice?
Teachers on summer vacation have way too much time.
Way too much time. Um, yeah, like I said, my notes on this, I did watch it twice. Melo talking about how he would take notes and then go back and try to make sense and put context to what I actually did that this time. And then I wrote out a rough draft of what I have here on my screen. Um, Whatever. Let's see. This is my trying to be professional, trying to make chicken soup out of chicken shit. Blue Steel. Under the direction of Catherine Bigelow, 1990s Blue Steel is beautifully put together with its choice of colors, slow motion shots, use of lighting, as well as decisions on location and tone. With a fast-paced story, it sometimes feels as if the viewer is being pulled along by the front of their shirt in order to keep up. With dynamic and complicated motifs of masculinity, misogyny, sex, violence, and love, sprinkled sporadically through a movie that is equal parts police procedure, suspense, and horror. I did not use ChatGPT, I swear to God. It might not be that good, but I wrote this. I'm kind of proud of it. The viewer first hears the beginnings of the tones and melodies that will become beloved in Terminator 2, being scored by Brad Fidel. Having worked on this, T1, T2, as well as reconnecting with Jamie Lee Curtis on True Lies just 4 years later. Blue Steel revolves heavily around sex, not only traditional male and female roles, but also the physical act, and what I will suggest are some more taboo topics. Opening right into the action of what we will eventually see as a training exercise where our heroine is quickly betrayed by a domestic violence victim that she has just saved from an abusive boyfriend. The viewer is jolted from a soft, slow tilt towards a bra to a fast stomp of a black dress shoe. We join a mass of New York police force graduates, of which 4 are female. Pre-enforcing, and it didn't correct that word, so I thought I made it up, but, pre-enforcing that Megan Turner is as rare as a pearl. Coincidentally, also the meaning of her name. Pearl, most often attributed to purity, elegance, and femininity, also has been used to allude to a woman's anatomy in an elevated way. On the contrary, it can also be used to refer to a male's result of climax. This duality of male and female traits and roles interchanging and intertwining persists throughout the movie. After graduation, while in her uniform, we see positive reactions of women to Megan on the street and less than positive reactions from a man in her building. We see her mother excited for her while her father expresses disappointment and even anger. Megan jokingly foreshadows the desire of shooting somebody since she was a kid as her reasoning for joining the police force. She then immediately shoots Tom Sizemore in what has to be the longest grocery store robbery in the history of cinema. At this point, we are delighted by the cinematography of a slow motion revolver dancing through the air. Beauty, violence, danger. Eugene Hunt absconds with the burglar's relinquished 44 revolver, a notoriously large handgun. Note, Eugene means well born. We are soon enlightened on his wealth and perversion that access to excess brings. A glimpse of his opulent chess set compared to the street chess game and its players from moments earlier in the movie allude to the duality and contradictions in this society. Cut to Megan being berated by her assistant chief Dunn when Detective Nicholas Mann, a literal dick, interrupts Dunn uh, while he was suggesting that our rookie officer has blown the robber's head off and emptied her load into him. Neither of these things actually happened. She shot him in the chest, and I believe she had shells left. She didn't. I didn't hear clicks of the gun. So I think she still had or bullets in the chamber. The story that Detective Mann interrupts with is one of a wealthy man's member being removed dentally from a hooker while receiving fellatio in the back of a taxi. Sex, violence, wealth, themes of this movie. Megan meets Howard the Coward, taking a masculine stance in rejecting his traditional advances as Eugene makes his first kill very awkwardly and clumsily, not being the assertive alpha that he believes himself to be. The next day, we find out that Megan gets time off for unauthorized use of force, murdering a man, shooting a robber that pointed a gun at her, but unauthorized use of force gets you time off. After Eugene engineers a meeting with Megan, we see that he is charismatic, clever, and captivating. We learn that his description of winter, a time that resembles death to him, the way he explains it, where Megan sees winter as safe. Megan becomes linked to the 44 Magnum killer through her name being carved on the shell casings. To keep her safe, she is given a detective badge, literally making her a dick. She is brought to crime scene number 4 as a detective and immediately has the insight that the killer enjoys seeing the face of the ones he murders. Cut to Eugene building his body while his mind is crumbling into madness. A prostitute makes the mistake of talking to him. She becomes victim number 5. As another sun rises, Megan is the target of. Megan is target shooting, showing us her proficiency with her weapon. After which she meets Eugene on the streets and engages in some fairly aggressive PDA. Guns, sex, once again. They have moved their way to Eugene's plush apartment where the facade crumbles when he loses his composure around her with her gun, needing her to point it at him. He goes on about her brightness and how the robber's gun gave him his radiance. He also admits that in his mind, death is the greatest kick. Any relation to an orgasm being the little death in literature, violence, sex again. Without any real confession, his lawyer, who may like boats and hoes, gets him released and refers to the screw up as a wet dream. There's also lots of asses in slings being talked about. Megan is now visiting her sister-like best friend who espouses the benefits of a nice life of having kids and being a wife. She is immediately murdered, destroying the American nuclear family, all because Megan and her non-traditional role in society, love, violence. We find the dad is beating mom again, love and violence, and Megan has had enough, saying that she is arresting him and taking dad to jail. Cooling off and returning to the family home, we see that Eugene has infiltrated and has been ingratiating himself with mom, who is a terrible judge of men. Eugene makes the comment that your daughter is the greatest kick, a callback to death, foreshadowing. We see how small of a man Eugene is compared to Megan's father when they stand up and shake hands. He's freaking out. He needs his gun to be a man. Eugene gets the drop on Nick, whose name means victory, since we were playing that, names being literal things in the movie. A huge man with a tiny gun. When he, drops his gun, it's fairly small compared to Eugene's large black gun. But Megan shoots Eugene in the arm, saving Nick. Um, the once couple proceeds to have a gunfight down the middle of the street. That could be some sort of demented PDA, as some may see it, but there's no real resolution. Blue steel, more like blue balls. Am I right? I actually typed that. Nick escorts Megan to her home, where the violence is inevitably going to become sex. We know that Eugene is removing Megan's slug from his arm 20 feet away in the bathroom. Eugene shoots Nick because he's been emasculated, having to have listened to them make love right outside the bathroom door. Love becoming violence. Eugene then rapes Megan to try to regain his masculinity and dominance. The two detectives are saved by from the 44 Magnum killer, who escapes out a window. We're almost there. In the hospital, Megan avoids sleeping medication, assaults her protection detail, and slips out onto the street in his uniform. She's wandering the city, bait for Eugene Hunt to hunt. After ambushing her in the subway, a gunfight ensues in the streets of New York, culminating with Eugene hiding behind a wiener cart, where he finally empties his load. And then basically she murders what is all intent and purposes an unarmed man, bringing an end to the energy-packed, fast-paced roller coaster of sex, love, gender roles, and violence, girl power. Or, as Eric Red, the co-writer of this story, as well as the 1986 suspense classic The Hitcher with C. Thomas Howell and Rutherford Howard, said, quote, "I wrote The Hitcher with a chick. I think either of us could be right." So that was it. What'd you think?
I
had it
think
up
what
on the
you just
screen.
said made me hate the movie more.
I had it up on the screen because I couldn't even look at you guys. All I had was the white sheet. So that's what I thought of the movie. Dan, I really thought you were going to be gone by the time I made the sheet go away.
What do you? He says I got to leave by 10 no matter what.
I know. What did
I typed up my thing. I'm just waiting to hit enter.
Thanks for sticking around. See you, Dan.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Uh,
So, Aaron, what is your letter grade / Winnie the Pooh honeypot scale?
I would give it a solid B. B plus, maybe. Probably B. B. Yeah. The B plus, I don't know where I just threw that out of. But I thought it was fine. I thought, it was for what it was, comparing it to the other movies of the time. You guys had said Time Cop. Any of the Van Damme stuff that was out there, this was fine, But like I said, I overthought it. I really tried. I had watched that Cracked, the kids talking about whatever movie, and they were seeing. I thought I sent it, and I said I'd like to dissect movies like this one day. So I was really overreaching and trying to make things that probably weren't there.
I took a film appreciation class in college. That very much reminded me of a paper I probably would have written.
And that's exactly what I was going. If I had to watch a movie for a class and write a report on it,
Yeah, you find a theme and then you go with it and find every
supporting
thing
details,
which I thought was interesting because there was a lot that I hadn't thought of. And then even I remember getting into this argument with them where it was like, all right, he hid behind a wiener cart. Is that really what they were going for? Probably not. And then and you still got to,
right?
But you can make the argument, even if the director didn't give a shit. If that wasn't the thing, you can still find that theme there and go with it.
Yeah,
and that, you nailed it.
Well, Aaron, excuse me, Aaron, does that wrap up
Oh yeah, that wraps it up. Thank you, Brian. That's
Okay.
all I will ever probably have to say about Blue Steel.
Okay. Besides it being the look of Zoolander, I guess would be
That
the only
also
time
true.
that should get brought up again. But so, Mike Hilty, we have your pick coming up next, but you have the choices of Michael Caine or Viola Davis.
Yeah.
And then I will be going next week, the week after that. And my two choices are Denzel Washington or Jodie Foster. So, Mike, what do you have for us?
So I tried to find a movie that had both of them. One does not exist, so that's a bummer. And there's a lot of really great Viola Davis movies. And for all you Michigan people out there, I really wanted to pick Air just to fuck with you all because, you know,
Ah,
go Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time and such. But I am
true.
Yeah, I
I
don't even
look
think the Pistons fan can argue with that.
I look through like Viola Davis's um movie filmography, and it just got so overwhelming that because there's a lot of good ones that I was like, okay, let me just take a peek at Michael Caine's, and I was like, fuck, this is even worse
Yeah.
because Michael Caine's been around for a lot longer. He's had a very great relationship um with Christopher Nolan, and we've done a ton of Nolan movies. Um I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do? Because it's like, am I really about to pick Austin Powers Gold Member for this? No, I am not. So I searched through a little bit, and one that I think kind of has a little bit of everything for everybody. Um, so I ended up going with the Michael Caine one, and one that um, it's got dystopian stuff. It's got it makes you think as well. Plus, it's also expertly directed. So we're gonna watch 2006's Children of Men by Alfonso Cuarón. So
Haven't seen it. Looking forward to it.
okay, so Aaron hasn't seen it. Brian,
I've not seen it.
Melo,
Yep.
Wilden, have you ever heard of the movie?
Favorite movie?
Oh, cool,
No,
cool, cool,
I
cool.
haven't. I haven't. I have heard of the movie. I've not seen it.
Okay, cool.
Well, I feel that's going to wrap us up for tonight, and we will see you all soon at the movies.
That'll do it for this episode of the BTB Movie Club podcast. Thank you as always for listening. We know we enjoyed ourselves. We hope you did too. Have yourself a great week. We are partnered with the SPDM Crew Podcast Network.